The first important gastrointestinal nematode is the abomasal worm of sheep and goats, which we call as Haemonchosis contortus, which is also known as the Barber's pole worm. It is also known as the bankrupt worm. So you can see the importance of this where it can cause bankruptcy. So to the economic losses that it can cause can be up to that level that it can make a animal owner bankrupt. It infects mainly sheep and goats and it parasitizes in the abomasum. Now, it is a very important or highly pathogenic gastrointestinal nematode because it is a voracious bloodsucker. Each Haemonchosis contortus in a day, one adult parasite in a day can suck about 0.05 to 0.06 ml of blood. Imagine if there are only 1,000 worms in an animal, then how much, about 50 to 60 ml of blood is lost. And if about 10,000 animals, almost half a liter of blood is lost in a day. They can suck that much amount of blood, and this results in severe anemia in case of haemonchosis. Acute infections, they generally occur when the sheep and goat, they ingest a large number of third stage larvae in a very short span of time. Let us 10,000 larvae, third stage larvae are the infective dose. Now, if a sheep ingests these 10,000 larvae within, let us say, in a day, in the morning hours when it preys at one time, then it will produce a severe disease. But the same sheep, if it ingests these 10,000 larvae over a period of 7 to 10 days, then it will result into a chronic disease because a lot of immune response is also generated against these larvae and their stages when they molt in the body. And this helps in production of immune response also. But economic losses will not stop because of this. So there will be a lot of economic losses because of chronic infections as well. The clinical signs in general will include anemia because they are voracious bloodsuckers. There is excessive loss of blood. There will be hypoproteinemia in the animals, and this leads to bottle jaw condition. Along with this, there will be diarrhea. In the acute cases, particularly if it is a chronic case, then diarrhea followed by constipation, then again diarrhea, this kind of syndrome will be seen. And the animals will have reduced appetite, and over a period of time, they will lose weight and production losses will occur. Now, if such animal dies and if you conduct the post-mortem, then you will find there is anemia. There will be paleness and whitening of different organs. And this anemia is quite apparent in the conjunctiva. You can see it in the live animal as well. Conjunctiva is normally pinkish to reddish in color, but because of severe anemia due to haemonchosis, it will become pale or whitish in color. Then there is edema of subcutaneous tissue, hydrothorax, hydropericardium, all associated with hyperproteinemia. And because it is a bloodsucker, wherever the worm parasite attaches to the abomasal mark, you will find hemorrhages. Generally, focal areas of hemorrhages will be seen. If a animal which is clinically ill, animal will show clinical signs of the disease when it has about 10,000 to 12,000 worms in its body. And severity of the disease is actually the function of the number of the worms. How many worms are there in the body and the size of the animal. If it is a very small animal, then 10,000 larvae will be sufficient to, or 10,000 worm will produce a very acute clinical disease. But if the size of the animal is large, then maybe large number of worms, a little bit larger number of worms will be required. Now, that can be easily seen in the next line that in lambs, 2,000 to 3,000 worms, they cause a heavy burden. And whereas in adults, it is up to 10,000. So the number of worms as well as the size of the animal matters. So a 2,000 or 3,000 worms can produce a clinical disease in lamb, but up to 10,000 or 12,000 adult worms will produce a clinical disease in the adult animals. The first photograph, this one, is a flock of sheep. You can see they are grazing on the ground and they are grazing very close to the ground and they are debilitated animals. Shearing, yeah, all they have been sheared, but because of shearing, you can see the condition of these animals. They are all debilitated and they are grazing together in a flock. Now, if you pick one of these animals and you see they were showing the clinical sign of diarrhea as well. And if you see there will be pasting of the feces in the posterior part as shown in the second photograph. You can see the feces, they are watery and they are pasted on the perianal region. So in a flock, you will find a large number of animals showing this kind of symptom when there is acute haemonchosis, or even in chronic infections, you will find this diarrhea. In the early morning hours, you will see flocks of sheep going for grazing, and they will be passing out their droppings, the pellets, they will be on the ground. But in a flock which is suffering from haemonchosis, a clinical haemonchosis, instead of pellets, you will find a lot of direct feces that are present on the ground. And this diarrhea will not be seen in one or two animals. Almost 20, 30, 40% of animals will be showing this diarrhea in a flock, because these animals are grazing together on the same pasture land, on the same ground, and they will be ingesting the larvae almost together. So a large number of animals will be showing this diarrhea. Then the third photograph that I saw of a goat, and you see the conjunctiva of this goat. It is totally whitish. It is totally anemic in nature. So this animal, and along with this, you can see there is a little bit bottle jaw, which is more prominent in the fourth photograph, this bottle jaw condition, as if a bottle of water has been inserted in the neck region. So these are typical clinical signs in case of haemonchosis and in GI nematodosis in general that you will be seeing. Now, if you conduct a postmortem on this one of these animals, you see the first photograph, the number of Haemonchus contortus that are present in the abomasum in a small area. See, maybe not less than 10, 20,000. There are bunches of the parasite, and they have all sucked blood. That's why they are red in color. The intestine is full of blood, and that's why it appears red. And you see, you think of a situation of this animal. This animal died because of haemonchosis and because of severe anemia. And then we separated few of these parasites, not all, and we placed them in a petri dish. This is from a very small part of abomasum. Then the third, these are the eggs of Haemonchus contortus.